Hello everyone. Welcome to our next video in Learning React.js series. In this video, we are going to understand what is prop drilling or props drilling. So basically what does that mean? We first understand this terminology, and for that I will have to create a few components. For example, first one, I will call it a parent component, and then we will have a child component, and lastly we will have a grandchild component. I will need these three components to understand what props drilling is. So let's just create a component, dummy component in parent, and a placeholder component you can say, and that's our child, and that will be our grandchild component. And similarly, we'll just call our, uh, let me give it the heading of prop drilling, and let me call our parent component here. Let me just enter it, and I have the server running already. It's a basic React application, nothing fancy, and we see app over here. My server is running on 3000. Let me close this, and you see parents is showing on the screen. Okay. Now what we have to do is, basically the idea is that I will be calling child component in parent component and grandchild component in child component. So for example, so what I will do over here is I can call it a parent component, and I can call the render the child component over here. Okay. And in child component, I will make its adding to be child, and here I will call the grandchild component. And in the grandchild component, I will change its heading to be grandchild as well. And I don't need to call anything, and I can just say that I'm a grandchild component. That's it. So yeah, that is a parent, that is child, and that's a grandchild. Okay. Now, in parent component, we are entering child, and we are entering grandchild. Now the problem is I'm a grandchild component. This text is getting printed in grandchild. Now what I want is I want this data to come from parent component. For example, whatever I write over here, I can I whatever I pass it from here, it should be passed to the grandchild component. Okay. So for example, and what how we can achieve it so far, if you remember our previous lecture, which was about props, you can if it is what if I would ask you how can you pass the data from parent component to child component, you will be easily doing it by passing some props over here, and you can get it in props. So that you already know, but we haven't really understood how you can pass it till grandchild, but we can do it using the same logic. So first, let's try that. How can we pass data from parent component to child component? So that is pretty simple. We can say my data, and we can say it's going to be I am a string in defined in parent component. Okay. And now how can you take this in child component? You can name it as props. Over here, you can directly destructure it because you know it's coming in my data, and you can print it over here directly. I am a string defining parent component, but I did not want to print it in child component. I wanted to print it in grandchild component, but parent and grandchild are not directly linked. They are linked through child component. Okay. Parent and grandchild are not directly linked. So what I can do is I have this my data. I can just pass it around into grandchild from this component, and this component will just as a work as a middleware. Okay, so I can again say my data over here as well, or I can name it anything what I want, or you can say you can just call it data. Okay, data is equal to my data. So in grandchild, I have to be structure it using data, which is going to be the variable name, which is on the left, the prop names in the left, and this is the value. And now data will have it, it will have that value. And now I can basically remove this and render data over here. Okay, so now you will see it's gone from child component, and it's the text, the grandchild component is updated. It is the same as that what we are passing from the parent component, and child is just working as a middleware. Okay, so what if there is, instead of a grandchild, there is as well a grandchild. Okay, parent, child, grandchild, and grandchild. And I would say that I want to pass data from parent to that grandchild. So how will you do that? So yeah, the logic will be same. The child will act as middleware. It will pass data to grandchild, and then grandchild again act as a middleware, and it will pass that data to the grandchild. So you see, this the layer will become will increase as and if you think about it, whenever you have a large application, there are a lot of components, a lot of nested components that will be calling each other, and you will be passing the data between among them, and it will be, and the job of these components will be just be to take this data and pass to the child component. So that is something will make your code very verbose and like not very user friendly and not clean. Okay, so because we don't want this data in this child component, child data has no concern about with this data, so it's just acting as a middleware. Okay, this child component will have a lot of logic, and it will also be getting this prop, so that will not make sense. It will only confuse the developers and you as well, that why are we getting this data, because since and we are not using it in this component. So that's confusing. So that's why props drilling is not recommended, is not appreciated, or is not suggested to use. But you just should know what prop drilling is, and I told you what how to do it, but this is something that you are not supposed to do. So you can go over this meme. Okay, so you will be able to relate it with better. Props drilling करनी आती है, हाँ कर दी, नहीं करनी थी, context या redux use करना था. So basically we are not supposed to do props drilling, because this is not a good practice to do props drilling in very small application. Like if you are a beginner, you will be doing props drilling. If that's a beginner mistake, you can say, and you can say that maybe in a as your application grow, the props drilling will become very hectic, and you will be just be confused. So what to do instead? Instead, we will be using context API or Redux. So these are two alternatives, and there are other as well, MobX as well. So, but these are the famous ones, and we will cover them as well in future in our next few lectures. So I guess yeah, that was about it. That was about props drilling, the concept of props drilling, what it is, and you should not do it. So that's why I told it. There will be no error, no issue, it will work fine, but that's not a good practice. That's not a good developer practice. Okay. So yeah, I guess that was it. That was about this video, and I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget to join our Discord community, as well as don't forget to subscribe and like this video and comment in the video. I'll appreciate. And I will see if you have any questions. I will reply to them personally. Okay. See you next time.